Welcome to TechBrothersIT. In this video, we're going to take a look into the date calculations in PySpark. We'll be adding, subtracting, and finding a date difference and some more other calculations in this video. So here's my sample data, and you can see that we have a name column here, and then we have a start column here. Here I'm creating a data frame called df by saying spark.createDataFrame function, and then using the sample data and then providing these list of columns. I have name and start date. Then once the data frame is created, I am adding a new column. So by using with the column function, and then calling the same name as we have this column, and this will overwrite our existing data frame. So we will have df equal to df with column, and here is the start date to date, and what we are doing here, we are converting this value of a column to this format, so year, month, and date, and then we are printing this data frame. So if I will go ahead and execute this one, it's gonna be very simple data frame with the two columns. One is name, you can see Amir, Sarah, and John. Then we have this date, start date column right there. Okay, now we have start date, and if we would like to add months to the date, what we can do, we can use add months function here. So here, if you see that I have df, that's my data frame, dot select. So now I can choose columns such as name, start date, and then I'm adding another column. And before I add that, I need to calculate a few things. So I'm adding 2 months to that date. So here I'm saying add months, and then providing the name of the column, that's the start date, and then say 2, that means add 2 months, and then alias as plus 2 months as, and then I'm using the show function to see the data. Now if I will execute, it's gonna show me 3 columns. So one will be name, second will be start date, and then other one will be plus 2. So see right there, name, start date, and then we have a plus 2 months. So if you see that here it was a 2023 and December, and now it is a 2024 and February. So 2 months are added to this value. Now if we will go to next value, you can see all the values has been changed by adding 2 months to it. Now if you want to add days to the date, that's also possible, and the function for that one is called the date underscore add, and then here what we will do, we'll add the days that we would like to add. So again, df dot select, I want to see all those columns such as name, start date, and then I said date underscore add, and then column, and then comma 10. That means I want to add 10 days to the existing date, that's a start date, and then alias as a plus 10 days. So now if I will execute, what's going to happen is going to add 10 days to the every date value, and it's going to show me right there. So you have a name, a start date, and you see that right there. So it's a 12 15. Now once we add that, it became 1225, and then we see that here it was January 1st, and now it has been January 11. So 10 days are added to each of the date value right here, and this has become this new column. Okay, now if we want to subtract days from the date, that's also possible. If I want to subtract 5 days, so df dot select, okay, what you want to select, name, start date, and the date sub. Here we did date add, and here is the date underscore sub, that's gonna subtract, and here is the list, that column, and then you provide the number of days that you want to subtract, in our case 5, and then alias as minus 5 days. So if I do that, if it's gonna show me, it's gonna subtract minus 5 from the start date and show me a new column. So you can see right there, it was December 15, and now it is showing us December 10 here. So you can see that 5 days are subtracted from this value. Okay, great. Now what we can do, we can go and if you want to find the difference, so date diff, so you have to provide end date and start date, and then it will give you the difference in days, same as date diff. Okay, so you can use that one, date underscore diff, or you can use the date diff without underscore. So here's a df dot select name and the start date, and as a date diff, current date, that's gonna give us just today's date, and then column start date, and that's gonna be subtracting from our current date, and it's gonna give us number of days, and we alias that column that we are generating by this one as days difference. Now if I execute, what's gonna happen, you are gonna see that right here. So you see that it will be better if I would show you current date here. That would be nice. But anyways, so these many days are the difference between current date and this date. How about I will just take this column and right here, copy, and I'm gonna just put it here, dot, and say current date. Okay, that should be better. Now if I execute, so you will be able to see the current date, and then you will see like, oh, makes sense. So here's our start date and here's our current date. So current date minus the start date, that gave us these many days. So you can see that 2023, 2025 makes totally sense with these numbers. Now if I want to go ahead and say, guess what, months between date 1 and date 2, I can use this function. So difference in months between two dates, that's possible. So df dot select name column, then start date, and here we will use the function called months underscore between. So current date time, minus that the column we want to subtract, so that's a start date alias as months difference. So this function is going to give us the difference in months. Okay, so you see right there, it gave you the difference, and you can see that 15.74 and this. So we could have round off if you want to do that, because it's not 30 days. So that's why I like given some decimal points with you, but that's fine. But you can see that it's a 15 months difference, and then 12 months difference. Now if you want to do that more, let's say next day, if you want to get next day and you have date and the day of the week, you can get there. So get the next specific day of the week. So such as Sunday, we want to get what will be the date on Sunday. So in this case, we say df dot select. So we have name, start date, and that's these are our columns coming from data frame. Here we are adding a new column called next day and column. So we apply on this start date, and we say, hey, when will be the Sunday? So it's going to take the date from there and then find a new date on which day the Sunday will be, and then it's called the next Sunday. So we'll just execute this one. So you see right there, we have name and then we have start date, and here's the start date. So on 2023 December 15, that's our current date here, and if we wanted to know on which day the next Sunday would be from here, so it is on 17th, and then we have a 2024 0101, so that's January 1st, and we say like, hey, when is the Sunday in 2024 after this January 1st? So it tells you on January 7th, and same goes here in 2024 March and 20th, what will be next Sunday? So that's going to be on 24th. So you will use the function called next day, and then if we want to do Monday or Tuesday or something, we can do that as well. And here just change whatever the next to Tuesday. Okay, now if you do that, you are going to get to the new values. See, so now it will tell you when will be the next Tuesday from this date. Okay, I thank you very much for watching this video, and I will put this entire code in the description so you can use it. And please subscribe my channel, and I will see you guys in the next video.